This is the Montana Outdoor Podcast, brought to you in part by Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer in Missoula, home of Boss Snowplows, CM Truck Beds, and Diamond Sea Trailers. Just go to rmtte.com for more information. And by Superior Hardwoods of Montana, home of the largest selection of in-stock high-end wood products and flooring in the western United States. Let them guide you through the woods at superior-hardwoods.com. Now, get ready for more fascinating topics and the most interesting people you will ever find in Montana's great outdoors. We offer new podcasts most every Saturday. You can get a link to these podcasts by going to our website, montanooutdoor.com, or by going to our Facebook page, or just send an email to Downrigger at montanooutdoor.com and say send a link to my email. It's that simple. Now let's head out with your host, Downrigger Dale, and see what's going on in Montana's great outdoors.
Hey, thanks so much, Manny. And hey, we are live, recorded live, out on Flathead Lake right now. You know, we did the podcast out on Fort Peck with the Salmon Slayer. People just love that, so we thought, well, let's head completely the other way across the state, up in northwest Montana on Flathead Lake with a legendary guy we've had on this podcast before, Captain Matt McComb. We know him as Matt from Mo Fish. We're going to talk with him a bit about fishing for these Lakers and whitefish and that. But we're also going to talk with the new owner of Mo Fish. And that here in a second. But I wanted to introduce one of my old buddies that you hear this voice all the time on the Montana Outdoor Radio Show, Deadeye Denny. A lot of times we call him the director. Yeah. And we figured it was time to get him out on the water. So, Deadeye, welcome to the program.
And thanks for choosing such a pristine, beautiful day, Dale. You know what? It is an overcast. It's a little bit choppy, a little bit overcast, breezy, showery day. And even with that kind of conditions, you're on Flathead Lake, which is just absolutely spectacular.
Well, we're pretty spoiled, and we're going to talk about this boat that we're on right now. Weather is not a problem on this boat.
No, it's not.
But let's talk with the new owner of Mo Fish.
Yeah, we got to meet Chris Mischke today. That's cool. And
yeah,
Matt, we've known for a long time, but I got to meet Chris.
Yeah, Chris Mischke. Chris, welcome to the Montana Outdoor Podcast. And how long have you now owned Mo Fish here?
My wife and I purchased Mo Fish Howe's Fishing in May, so May 30th. So, yeah.
Okay.
But getting to know you a little bit earlier in the day, it's kind of been you've kind of grown up around this business, right?
I sure have. Yeah. So, my dad chartered with Shorty Goggins, who started kind of the fishing industry or the guiding.
Yeah, that's a legendary name here on Flathead Lake for sure.
With Able Fishing Charters. And so my dad chartered with Shorty for 15 years. And it just kind of happened for me that I followed in my dad's footsteps. But
yeah,
but it's been a lot of fun for sure.
Well, the boat that we're on has a really unique story, and this is one of the boats that you take out on charters. And we've got a fish on. Captain Matt is hitting out for the fish, so we're gonna have Denny pull that bad boy in, and we'll see what I'll get out there and get a little flavor for him here. Yeah, as we go out here, we'll see if the director can not lose this fish. All right, so director, here we just started the podcast. You've got what seems to be a Mack on. How's it feel?
I'm not getting a lot of fight, a lot of resistance. Well, now I am. So a little more than I expected. I didn't think it was a real big one, but I imagine it's on Flathead Lake and it's a lake trout. You know, it's probably pretty good size.
So Matt, how's he doing as far as bringing this thing in?
Well, like most times, every Saturday when I do the live show, I really do catch fish while we're on the air.
So we can see him.
Yeah,
He's about 20, 25 feet out, up on the surface. What did I hook him on here, Matt or Chris? Either one.
Pro Troll with a gold fly with a black spinner.
Okay, and he popped that off the downrigger. How tight do you set your lines on the downriggers for these Mackinaw?
As light as I can, because I would prefer the fish to release instead of the client. So it just makes it that much easier to hook the fish.
Now, when you get a fish on, like, typically with the king salmon over in Fort Peck, we put it in that downrigger as tight as possible because that's what sets the hook. Do you need to set the hook or anything, or does the downrigger pretty much do the work?
The downrigger does all the work. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to set the hook here. That's a nice fish.
All right, Director, what do you think?
I got me, I don't know, maybe somewhere in the 20-inch range or so, somewhere in there. A few pounds to it. It even for a smaller lake trout, once we got it close to the boat, it was getting a little bit cranky. It was good.
Fish on already. Yeah, those are eaters. And
All right, let's get the lines back in the water, boys. Here we go.
okay, Matt. So you're putting this stuff out right now. Describe to me what you're doing right now.
We got a Pro Troll flasher, and we've got a kind of a local glow fly on there with a little bit of garlic fire gel on there.
Garlic fire gel. Now, is that we're going after Macks with this, right?
Yep.
Okay.
We're looking at our fish finder right now, and then we're seeing some bait at 70, and there's a big laker right there at 80. So we're going to drop this down to about 70.
Okay. I'm going to go over to the other side of the boat. Chris, what are you putting out right now?
We're using Pro Troll flashers with flies with this and using garlic fire gel from Potski Bait Company.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so on this side, what color fly are you putting out?
We have some pink and we have some gold. Yep. Yep.
Okay. And what has that been the hot color lately for the Macks here on Flathead?
It has, yeah.
Okay.
Imitating perch fry and whitefish fry. So the white glow is imitating whitefish, and the gold and black is imitating 2 to 3 month old perch, inch and a half. And that's what the whitefish are eating also. So. And
how fast do you guys troll out here, Chris?
Anything between 1.8 and 2.2.
Okay. What's the difference between the Lakers here and, say, the Lakers over on Fort Peck? Seems like the ones here are a little bigger.
A little bigger, predominantly better tasting. So what happens here in the Flathead Lake is we have freshwater mysis shrimp, and then Fort Peck is mostly Cisco. And so predominantly our lake trout live on freshwater shrimp.
Okay, so that's what gives them the better flavor.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. There you go. There you go. So Deadeye Denny already taking on a fish here. So not bad for the first few minutes of the podcast, huh?
Not at all, as long as I didn't break your broadcast gear, because I saw the rod go and Matt was on it right away. It's fun. You know what's fun talking with these guys is they're talking to you and they're sort of making eye contact with you, but they are constantly looking at the rods that are out in the water. And Matt saw that and jumped on it and had me come reel it in.
Yeah, you. I've never seen you actually move that fast before.
It's hard to. It's hard to be on a boat and actually have to walk some distance, but on this boat you do. So that was good.
Yeah. So the director threw a nice body check, checked Chris up against the glass, and flew out to the back of the boat. Yep. And there he was.
Yeah, I forgot to take my headphones off when running out there, so I don't think I broke any of the gear. I'm not sure.
Snapped his head right back, just like a Mack hitting the lure there.
Yeah. No, that was exciting.
All right. Well, Chris, come on back in and we'll pick up where we left off. Now, Chris, the boat that we're on has a yeah, pretty amazing story. Describe this boat a little bit and tell us the story behind it.
So in 1998, Shorty Goggins had had this custom built from Thunderjet in Lewiston, Idaho, and he designed the boat for Flathead Lake and the big groups. It's the only basically commercial fishing boat that can take up to 15 people.
Wow.
And so I do a lot of huge trips with this boat, and people really enjoy being as a group or a family instead of being on 3 different boats. So Shorty had the boat custom built. He later in his years he sold the company to a fellow named Pat Capanella, and then Pat Capanella sold to Mike Howe without the boat, and so the Able name kind of changed hands 2 different times, and then when Mike Howe had it, and then when Pat decided to sell the boat, I couldn't run over quick enough to buy the boat because I knew the history and
right.
And my dad being part of the
your dad kind of helped design this boat, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He
So
sure did. Yeah.
you kind of started out as a kid on this boat.
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a neat way to go full circle from your dad to Shorty, then it went to Pat Capanella, then Mike Howe,
yep.
And now back to you, and here you are all grown up and
it's been
got a little gray in your hair now.
Yeah.
What's a typical day for each of you guys? Each charter? Are you out a couple different sessions each day, or more than 2? Or
so we pretty much run 7 days a week,
right?
2 trips a day for most of the time, and so we keep busy. The guys keep busy, and Mike Howe, over the years he created a great business, and kept all the guides and all the guides. I'm thankful that they stuck with me. So keeping Matt and we got Cameron and Ross and Junior, and we have Ivan. So they all stuck with me, and I mean I couldn't do this myself, and then my wife being a big part of this business, doing the books.
What's your wife's name?
April's name is April.
April, okay.
April's name is April. My wife's name is April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to April out there.
Yeah.
She's back in the office doing all the work while we're out here chasing fish.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're out here on the water a lot of times with people you just met. You must have some interesting stories to tell. You've probably met a lot of fascinating people in this business.
A lot of fascinating people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
I mean, from famous baseball players to famous actors and actresses. Football, you just never know who's going to be on your boat.
Well, and then even a couple of radio celebrities like us.
Celebrities, you forgot those. Yeah. But you forgot your wife's name, so that's okay.
So, when you made this decision, you and April made this decision to buy this. I mean, that's a big decision. This is a big company. It's got you just named off all these guides. How many boats are involved out here then?
We have 7 boats here, and not to leave Eddie out over at Fort Peck.
Right.
Fort Peck. Yeah. So Eddie Mint at Fort Peck is one of our guides, and so. He does a lot of business over there.
Absolutely.
At Lake Ridge Motel. Yep. So, and I've known Eddie now for quite a few years.
Well, and Eddie and his kids are excellent guides out there, both for salmon, of course walleye. They're very well known for, but also they did a lot of trips in this last winter, ice fishing.
They've done a ton of trips this last winter. Absolutely. Yeah.
So what? You and Matt are doing this, pretty much during the summer season, probably close to 7 days a week. When you end up having a day off, which is probably pretty rare in the summertime, do you like to go fishing yourself?
I do, actually. Yeah. So on my birthday, my my buddies were like, "What are we going to do for your birthday?" I said, "We're going fishing." So
Really?
we
So
went fishing. Yeah, so,
You guys just absolutely love what you do.
When they're out here, they are not fishing when they're
Right,
out here
they're
on
working.
fishing charters.
Yeah.
It might feel that way, but they're not hauling them in and all of that.
So describe kind of what the experience would be on this boat here, which you have not given it a new name yet, so we just call it the big boat, and it is a big boat. How many feet long is this?
I'm 34 feet overall.
34 feet. Wow.
Yeah, with new repower 3 years ago. So I have 600 horsepower on the back end. It used to be an inboard, but I repowered it, and by doing that, created another 4 feet. So 34 feet overall, 32 at the waterline.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the experience that people have? You said you can put 15 people on here.
That's correct.
Okay. Wow. And the cool thing is, of course, this is radio in a sense, or podcast, so we don't have the pictures, but I will post pictures of this boat inside and that, so you folks can go to the MontanaOutdoor.com and you can see all the pictures and that, and even Denny with his minnow. I mean his Mack that he got. But there's
an eater. We kept it.
There's two tables in here, so you've got really 8 people can sit comfortably and eat.
Just inside, yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got a full bathroom and
That's
everything.
a full private head. Yep.
Yeah. And then upstairs.
Yep.
Talk a bit about what's upstairs here on the boat.
So it's just a nice place for families that want to hang out. Sometimes they don't want to fish. They show up and they don't have a fishing license. They just want to go and hang out on top.
Lay out and get a suntan while Dad and Junior catch stuff. And
that's exactly it. And then usually if I have all 15 guys, which I have a lot of, they'll just take a rotation. So inside the cab, they'll be up on top of the boat, they'll be in the back deck, and everybody just takes a turn and rotates through.
So how many fish have you had on at one time on this boat?
4.
4 fish at one time. Four Mackinaw.
4 Mackinaw at one time, yes.
Now, explain how you do that and how you manage that, because that is not the easiest thing to do, because you got to keep everything out of the tackle, not tangled together. Talk about what your strategy is there.
So that's where we just got to keep the clients calm,
right?
Because they all want to race the fish to the net,
right?
And so you just got to one at a time. Bring them to me one at a time. I'll get them. We have 2 nets on the boat. All our boats have 2 nets, just for those reasons. And you just got to keep the client calm and net them as they come. Yeah.
Well, we have listeners, and Director, feel free to jump in anytime you want. You know me, I'll just blabber along. But we have people that listen to this podcast all over, from a lot of people at Ramstein Air Force Base over in Germany. We got a lot of folks that listen there. We've got quite a few in the Philippines and all over that listen. So when somebody comes from, even like say from Denver or whatever, they've never been out on Flathead Lake, on the Montana Outdoor Radio Show and on this podcast, I always recommend, if you want to learn a lake, the best thing to do is hire a guide, get out and learn all about the lake, what's there, and the fish. Is that something you can help people with if they charter? You can kind of give them an idea of what to use and all that if they ever decide they want to try to do this alone?
Oh, absolutely. We have, like I said before, not only myself but all the guides that we love to teach people. We'll even go out in your boat and
really? Okay.
Absolutely. So if you buy a brand new boat and you need to learn your gear, we'll go out on your boat and we'll show you how to work your gear.
Wow, that's a great service. Yeah.
So and all our guides are that's what it's all about, is teaching and watching other people learn and catch fish, just if like we do.
Matt?
Just last week I took a customer out. He wanted to learn from my boat because he was looking at a boat just like mine.
Right.
I said, it's going to be a very expensive day. I told his wife that. She goes, well, we're prepared for it. Well, after 4.5 hours of fishing, 12 hours later, he dumped $100,000 and bought a new boat.
Wow.
So
You got to rush, so to speak.
For us to take people out that want to learn, I do seminars over at Chancey's and Dave's fish camp store. After that, we do like a fishing 101. I put a sign-up sheet. It costs this much. I get 4 guys in my boat, and all we're going to do is everything I talk about in the seminar, we're going to do on the boat.
Oh, okay. Right. So you're going to actually apply it then.
With the laws here that we have, you can run 2 rods per person here.
Right.
Well, we see a lot of boats out here with 2 or 3 people in the boat, and they only have 1 or 2 or 3 rods out. I want to teach you how to run multiple rods, side planer boards, dip sea divers, multiple downriggers, and then stacking downriggers. And we show you all that on the boat. So guys that want to learn more, like Chris said, like you said, hire a guide, learn the water, learn the different techniques, and you'll produce more fish in the net. When we're done with you, guaranteed you're going to put more fish in the net.
All right. So this time of year, we're recording this podcast in mid-August, mid to late August. What is it today?
21.
The 21st. So what would be the main fish you're going to target out here, Matt?
Well, we're just coming off a pretty good whitefish bite the last couple of weeks, but we've had really bad winds, so we've been staying trolling versus trying to jig for the whitefish. So we're trolling for lake trout. They're just starting to get into that pre-spawn. Some of the fish I filleted yesterday, the eggs were already starting to break up.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So if we went closer to the shore, we'd be getting into those spawners. Right now, we're just mid-lake. We got a lot of bait on the screen right now I'm looking at, and there's a lake trout sitting right underneath that bait line. So we're just out here catching those eaters, 2 to 8 pounders. They're just stuffed full of perch and whitefish in their belly. So that's all we're really doing. Just no rhyme or reason. We're just kind of heading down the center of the lake.
Right. And Chris, talk about the electronics that you use to find these fish, and what your strategy is there with your electronics.
So I use Lowrance. There's lots of popular brands, Humminbird, Furuno, but I just particularly like Lowrance. And then I've fisherman friendly, easy to run. I still don't know everything about them. I wish I could have the Lowrance gurus come with me sometimes, but they're like mini computers. But I just like my Lowrance, and I'm used to it, and I know what I'm looking at as far as fish and yeah, good. Yeah, just a nice brand. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And this time of the year, what depth are you targeting these Macks right now?
A lot of that depends on where the bait is. So I mean, there's sometimes we're fishing in 300 feet of water and we can catch them 15, 20 feet down. Other times we can catch them at 180. It just depends on where the bait falls and where the fish are lying. So with the proper electronics, you can see that, and then we just place the bait or our lures by the downrigger where the fish would be at.
And when folks are out here fishing for Macks, what other fish might be on the other end of the line that you weren't targeting? So
sometimes we do catch a bull trout, sometimes a cutthroat, but most of the time it's always going to be the lake trout. Yep. And
that's just because of the technique you're using, the rig and the
yeah, that's correct. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not everybody that books a charter gets to fish a lot. There's a lot of novices or people that just, they finally get an opportunity to get out and go with you. What are some of the more common questions you get when people are trying on the phone? I heard you work on the phone. You're very, very polite to your customer, but you probably get a lot of, similar questions each time people call. Things that you just kind of got to be patient. Just, answer the question.
Oh, it's always how much.
Well, sure.
Yeah. How long? Will we catch anything?
Okay. Well, let's start with that. So how much? What's your price range typically?
So our price range starts at $500. That's for 1 or 2 people, and $125 for each additional person up to the 6.
And how long is that?
5 hours.
5 hours.
That's
okay.
correct. Yeah.
And about what time of the day do you usually start?
We start at 7 o'clock and we finish at noon, and then our afternoon trip starts at 1, and then we finish at 6.
And same price for afternoon or mornings.
That's
okay.
correct. Yep.
And do most people do that half day, or do some people do the whole from morning to night?
Most people are half day. And we do get some that would like to just spend the whole day out. And when they spend the whole day with us, it's 8 hours. So that's 7 to 3. And sometimes if they go, well, can we go from 8 to 4? It just depends on the family sometimes. But most of our trips are half days.
And during that time, of course, you never know. I mean, fish have a mind of their own. But on average, about how many fish would they expect to catch?
I average, and I can probably speak for all my guides, 8 fish. So if
so that's pretty good.
It is pretty good, yeah. If you average them out over the course of the year, I would say it's an average of 8 fish. And there's days where we catch 1, but the other times it's anywhere in the teens up to 20s. Yeah. Just depends. And I think that would be a pretty fair guesstimate, even if with Matt standing right here. Yeah, he's nodding his head yes.
So what's the most fish you've ever caught, Matt?
38.
38. And what's the limit here for Macks?
100.
100. So you hadn't even got halfway there to your limit.
Yeah. that's just troll. Yeah.
Wow,
so
38.
I imagine you released a few of them too.
Yeah. Wow. What about size-wise? What would people expect for size? Because these Macks are, the Mackinaw or Lake Trout, are not small fish.
Average size, I would say, it is fair to say, it would be 3 to the 8 pound range on average. Some days, like this morning for us, they were all a little smaller, between that 3 and 4.5 pound range. Yesterday they were a little bigger, and a couple days ago they were all like 8 pounds. So that it just varies on days. Like they have a pecking order on how, what they're eating that day.
Right,
Yeah.
Got it. Well, we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, I want to ask both Chris and Matt about the other areas of northwest Montana that they go to. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with find out where else you can go besides this wonderful lake we're on right now, right after this. So I'm going to take a little minute here and talk about one of our great sponsors, and that's Superior Hardwoods of Montana. They've been doing hardwoods for 41 years. It's hard to believe they've been doing that for that long, but 41 years, and through all those years, that make it since 1977, they have been constantly growing and improving their business and knowledge, and what they've ended up with is pretty incredible, folks. 100,000 square feet of flooring is waiting for you to take a look at. They're located in Missoula, Montana. If you go down Highway 93 through Missoula, you're heading south on 93 from Missoula, you're going to see Superior Hardwoods of Montana right across the highway from that great big round workout place called the Peak Athletic Center. You can see it right there. Anyway, they have developed a process there that's really unique. They call it guiding you through the woods. And what they are able to do is take all this 41 years of incredible knowledge and be able to help you figure out exactly what kind of wood you want to add to your home, whether it's paneling or siding or, beautiful floors. And they've added really, I think, kind of an exciting series called the Pioneer Series, Wilderness and Heirloom Series. They're floors that can be, and woods, I should say, that can be specifically crafted to your specs of what you need. And another thing they've done is be able to repurpose woods. So, literally you're putting a flooring down or paneling up in your house that is a piece of history. and it has that unique character to it, and they've really brought that back to life through their milling process. And that it's just incredibly unique. It's something that you really should go see. Now, you can go to their website, superior-hardwoods.com, and there you can get a really good flavor for what I've been talking about here. Or you can go on to Superior Hardwoods right there in Missoula and take a look. Be ready to take a long look because they have so many great things. 11 acres, basically, of stunning architectural lumber sitting there waiting for you. So I can't stress enough, go see Superior Hardwoods of Montana, either on the web at superior-hardwoods.com or stop by and see them in Missoula. You can call them 251-2272. Of course, that's area code 406, 5120 Highway 93 South. There in Missoula is where you find them. And again, superior-hardwoods.com. Let them guide you through the woods. We are back here on the Montana Outdoor Podcast, Downrigger Dale, along with the illustrious director, or Deadeye Denny, as we like to call him. Now, Matt, Flathead Lake is a very large lake. For those of you that aren't from Montana that are listening, it's the largest freshwater natural lake west of the Mississippi. So it's a good sized lake. But you guys also charter other waters around the area. Talk about the other places that you go and what you fish for.
For about 6-7 weeks, we're stuck here. So come 1st of July all the way through August, only because our boats are in the marinas. The boat launches are way too busy for us to be transporting the boats to different lakes.
Well, and that's the hot time to be here,
That's
too.
when you want to be here.
Right.
April, May, and part of June, I'm going after the kokanee on Lake Mary Ronan, Bitterroot Lake. We go perch fishing. I do some pike fishing trips on Swan Lake, Thompson Lake. So we're on our guide license. I've got 10 plus lakes listed.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then we have to buy all the permits for the Fish and Game, Forest Service permits. So we're permitted to fish all these different lakes. With that saying, now that fall's coming quick today.
Yeah. It cooled right off.
We went from air conditioners to the heaters in our boats in 2 days. I got probably another solid 2 weeks straight. I'm actually trailering my boat because our marina, the docks are way too high in the air. It's actually dangerous. So with the lake levels dropping so quick this year. And so I'll be doing some trips coming up to Mary Ronan and Bitterroot Lake. I did one 2 weeks ago. It was a special request. And we put 50 kokanee salmon, beautiful, 10 to 12-inch kokanee salmon. It's a family I take out every year, and they rent a house out there. So they had a good time. It was also for me to get away from the lake and go try something else.
Right.
Fishing for lake trout every single day for 8 weeks, 9 weeks straight gets a little monotonous. So for me to go, let's go kokanee fishing. Heck yeah.
So for people that are listening out there that say, they could call you and say, I'm not a big Mackinaw fan, but I'm coming up in the fall. You can kind of tell them, okay, here's some of your choices.
What's working that time of the year? Yes.
Okay.
With the kokanee going to be spawning here in another month. So you're mainly after the 3-year-olds because the 4-year-olds are getting the hook jaw and they get a little mushy. So I like to fish for kokanee in the spring when those 4-year-olds are firm, silver, fight hard. I mean, you hook 10, you might land 2. They jump, and they're soft-lipped, and you lose them 5 feet from the net.
Yeah.
That's kokanee fishing, though, especially with ultralight gear. I use 7.5-foot crappie rods, and I'll tell you what, a 12-inch kokanee on a 7-foot ultralight crappie rod is so fun.
Oh, boy.
But we also do pike fishing. I do a few trips. We have Ivan, one of our other guides. He's got a flat-bottomed jet boat, and he fishes the sloughs up the Flathead River. And he catches lake trout, bull trout, crappie, bass, and mainly pike is what they go after. The last couple of days, he's been doing pretty good. 5, 6 nice. I think his biggest was 8-10 pounds yesterday.
Okay. Director, you got a question?
Well, I can't even remember now how many years you've been a weekly correspondent on the Montana Outdoor Radio Show, but 19, and I know once in a while you get a phone call from another listener saying, "Hey, we would we'd like to book a charter with Mo Fish or any of the boats you have." I just did a trip
early last week, and he walked down. He goes, "Now I can put a face to a voice."
Okay.
And I go, "What?" He says, "I listen to you every single Saturday morning."
How about that?
And so, yeah, thanks for the show. We got another booking, and I probably do half a dozen at least that they say, "I've been listening to you for years. I've been wanting to get up to Flathead. We're from Belgrade. We're from Stevensville," you know. And I actually text the captain what the radio station was down in Belgrade, somewhere down. He sent me the link to it. So, yeah, we appreciate everything you guys do. I hope I help you guys out and all the listeners.
Without a doubt, yeah. Yeah, you give great information.
When I gave a report on Flathead, I don't fib about nothing. No. Brad Super Baits, we switched over to the flies, but last week for me it was the Brad Super Baits. Mm-hmm. I couldn't keep them off.
We will get a phone call or two if we don't have a live report from Matt at Mo Fish and Chansey at Chansey and Dave's Fish Camp. You know, those two guys, those two correspondents, they're kind of a must, or we hear about it from time to time. So, and then that's testimony. I mean, just to your point, you don't pull any punches. You tell it. Here's exactly what is happening. Chansey's the same way, and you're both great additions to the show.
I don't really listen to the whole show because I'm dealing with customers and fish.
For sure.
But do you guys have any other guides or outfitters that are actually fishing when you're talking to them besides me?
Fishing? No, with the exception Neil Cote with Bite Me Flies once in a while. Right. He's on the water somewhere, but no.
Well, sometimes Eddie will be out fishing, especially ice fishing when we talk to him. A lot of times he's
pretty much got a corner on that market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what? 3 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
We've hooked a fish while we were talking to you or the captain.
We were talking. Yeah, exactly. Now back to what we're doing right now on Flathead Lake. Describe where we're at on the lake right now, Matt.
We're just south of the delta. That's where all 5 of the rivers in the valley meet. A lot of fresh nutrients are coming in for all the minnows and the yearling fish. These lake trout sit underneath of them, and they just wait to pounce on them. So right now, we're working our way towards Woods Bay. So between Big Fork and Woods Bay and the middle of the lake delta here, that's kind of our triangle that we like to hit. Either one day they're hitting over here, next day they're hitting over here, just depending on how much bait we're dealing with. Yeah. And like I said, I've been watching the screen almost the whole time we've been on the show here, and we've had a pretty good bait line in that 80 to 90 foot. And those are 3-inch whitefish. So all of our lures are in that 3-inch pattern, whether it's got a gold glitter to it or that pink or white glow. So that's what we're imitating. And the flashers, that's the most important thing too.
Yeah.
Now, you pointed out earlier in the show, temperature-wise and moisture, precipitation-wise for that matter, has changed a lot in the last couple days. What kind of impact or influence does that have on the bite?
Well, with them getting into that pre-spawn mode, they're going to want to find that colder water. 2 days ago, we were fishing over there, and the lake temperature dropped almost 20 degrees because of the wind we had.
Now you're pointing over there. That's Woods Bay?
Yep. Woods Bay's got the flow of the Swan River coming out.
Okay.
A little bit colder water on that side. Today, I was fishing the west side. I was back to 68-degree water over there.
Okay.
But the wind was coming out of the southwest, and now the last 2 days we got the north wind. So it's like a big washing machine out here. And some mornings we think we've got them figured out because we left fish last night. We come out the next morning and they're nowhere to be found. Right. Might take us an hour or two to figure out, okay, well, the wind was blowing this way, so let's go farther east and follow the bait. Once we find the bait, then we're usually on those Lakers right underneath of them.
So Matt, when I noticed that you guys were looking at the screen, you saw the bait and all that, you dropped it. Do you not put in until you see what you're looking for on the screen, or do you?
We usually go off what we did the day before, or since our network is so tight with all of our guides, we're not all fishing the same water, so we'll talk. We have a group text, and we know where each of us has been catching or what we're seeing. We're fishing right now where Chris was this morning. I was on the opposite side of the lake, but Chris saw these fish as he was going in for lunch You guys get here, we're going right back out, and of course, as soon as we put down, we
Boom, you
nail
got
the
one.
fish.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at fish on the screen as we speak. It's just a tough afternoon bite right this second.
Well,
We've got a
and
big storm coming in and everything.
Director, you mentioned that, watching these guys work, that, they may be they got one eye on us talking to us, but they're always looking at all their gear and equipment.
Yeah, they got me doing it now too. But that's they don't lose their attention. They stay focused on what you're asking, what they're talking about. But they are looking at the tip of each and every rod.
We
Believe
can
me.
make conversation and never look you in the eye. Trust me.
So, Matt, what would you say are, let's say that the top 5 biggest mistakes that people make when they come out here after these big Mackinaw lake trout?
Scents. Keep your hands scent free. Wash your hands before you touch the lures. We use different scents on them just in case. You don't want to eat a bologna sandwich with mustard and then not wash your hands. You don't want to smoke a cigarette or put tobacco in your lip with your hands without washing your hands. I believe that's the most important thing on any type of fishing.
Okay.
Secondly, go where the fish are. Try to learn how the fish migrate from one end of the lake to the other, just like following perch or following salmon. They have a pattern. They're looking for a water temperature. And then, of course, speed. Every fishing lure is built to be utilized at a certain speed when trolling or casting. Figure that out. You don't want to pull flatfish at 2.5 miles an hour. Flatfish you pull at 1 mile an hour. You usually pull them on the bottom. Big flashers and flies and squids, that 1.8 to 2.2, 2.3. We're going into the wind right now. You've heard the RPMs kick up on the motor, so we're trying to maintain that 2.1. That gives that flasher and the fly the best action, horizontal action. Those are probably the top 5 keys. Mainly, keep your boat and gear and your hands clean. Wear a glove when you fuel up in the morning. Wipe off any spillage. Yeah.
So I probably shouldn't have grabbed that rod after I was eating my jelly donut then. Huh?
Well, hopefully it's
I'm
raining.
not using that one.
Hopefully it's raining hard enough and it got all the jelly off of
Yeah,
it.
there you go. Now, let's talk a bit about these whitefish. That they are the largest of in
Mass.
number and mass, the biomass, the largest biomass in Flathead Lake. Why do you suppose it is that there's only certain times of the year that they regularly get caught when there's that many in this lake? How many do you think there is?
There's millions.
Millions.
Oh,
Okay.
Billion. I don't even know how many millions, but whitefish are a plankton shrimp eater. Their mouths aren't really made to aggressively eat other minnows. We have one of the most unique ecosystems when it comes to whitefish. Even the biologists have said, even the Great Lakes, they don't catch them like we do.
Okay.
When the perch fry come into the shallows, I say shallows 40 to 60 feet, the whitefish have learned over all these years now that we have more perch. Back in the day, no one could catch whitefish. They didn't come into the shallows. But as the perch population grew here, the whitefish have adapted. Now, certain times of the year, mid-August, when those perch fry move in, the whitefish are right behind them, but it's a very sensitive bite. Some guys can catch 10, 20, 30. Some guys can fish all day and not even get a bite. So it's a very finesse fishery. And when I say finesse, you can have a boat right next to you, and all 4 of those guys are reeling in fish, and you're sitting there scratching your head.
Okay, so you've got a key on that bait and that structure to find the whitefish. They have become. It used to be, and I was reading some articles about this, that at one time they couldn't get anybody to even want to fish for whitefish. They thought, oh, those are like suckers. We don't want to have them. What made that change to where now, when the whitefish bite is on, a lot of people come out here after that?
Oh, the whole Delta, Woods Bay Point, some of the other points down south by Big Arm, by Rollins down there. You could walk across the lake on the amount of boats that are down there. And the good thing about jigging for whitefish, that tug is worse than a drug. When a whitefish hits,
Yeah.
it rips it right out of your hand. And they, pound for pound, a 5-pound whitefish, there's no other fish in Montana that can fight like a whitefish. They're peeling line. Your rod's completely bent over. So not only just the excitement of fishing for them and catching them, but they are really good eating.
Yeah, and
They
I
make
think
the best fish tacos I've ever had.
Yeah, I think that's
walleye and perch. I mean, you don't. I'm not even categorize them the same as walleye and
Right.
perch, but they are very non-fishy tasting.
right.
They're firm. You can fry them. You can smoke them. You can boil them, pickle them. Yeah, they're a great fish. And if you like eating eggs, I guess the eggs are really good too.
Yeah, I'm not
an egg eater.
I'm not a big fish egg eater at all. But if we hook into one, we'll let Denny try them.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the other irony about whitefish. You hook one of those, you hear how great eating they are, and you look at it and you go, this thing tastes good.
In about a month from now, come late September into October, a small percentage of the lake whitefish will go up our river.
Right.
And you can fish them off the banks up there, and there'll be tons of guys fishing the river. But they're mainly a lake broadcast spawner. When I say broadcast spawner, the females are right on the surface. They'll drop their eggs, and the males come right behind them. They usually do it anywhere from 60 to 90 foot of water. And I don't know what the success rate is, but it can't be a whole lot.
But so they're
all these
fertilizing the eggs as they're dropping
Yes.
down to the bottom.
They're a broadcast
I'll be
spawner. You come out
dang.
here in mid-December, and you can see the fins along the delta. They're swimming everywhere. My old partner Bob, Fish Bob, we're out here Christmas week one time, and the whitefish were everywhere on the delta.
I know you need to work this half of the lake, but there's also a south end of Flathead Lake whitefish bite, is there not?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's still going. We have a lot of our friends, Ross Tate and all those guys down in Missoula and Polson, and they've been doing good in the Rawlins, Big Arm area. That's across the reservation line. We're not allowed down there. We just get reports and see lots of pictures. So guys that from Missoula and Polson will hit that end of the lake versus trying to drive all the way up here. So, and plus they have a pretty good perch bite down there in that East Bay in May and early June. And then I guess it was a pretty good bite this year too.
So when you're targeting these whitefish, go through the steps of how best to catch them. Are you jigging mainly? Talk about some baits, things like that.
We're looking for weedy points or little flats that the perch will move into. We're using anywhere from 5 to 7 foot ultralight to medium light rods, spinning reels. We use a lot of Zimmer tackle.
Yeah.
Zimmer makes a nice line of jigging, whitefish jigs. Dark green with little chartreuse on it seems to work. We also put red hooks on them. That seems to be magic when you put a red treble hook on it. And you want to hit bottom, reel up about one or 1.5 cranks, and you're just doing 6-inch to 2 foot jigs. They'll hit it on the way down because of the way their lips are formed over their snout. They come in at a 45, and that's when they hit it. So they'll hit it when it's dropping. So when you're upswinging, make sure you got a little authority. So when they hit it, you bury the hook. Otherwise, they'll spit it out before you even know you had them on.
Wow.
And that's what's frustrating. That's why you got to finesse that upswing. Any resistance, give them the onion. Just send it.
Okay.
We run 10 to 15 pound spider wire or braided line. That way it's more sensitive. You can feel if you're touching the bottom. You can feel if you got a weed. And like I figure, like when I have customers that've never jigged before, about every 30 pulls, if it doesn't feel right, reel it up and check it. There's a weed on it because we're fishing right above the weeds. And if you got a weed on it, you will not catch a whitefish.
Okay.
And another benefit is the lake trout will sneak in there. Last year I caught a 20 pounder on a 5.5 foot ultralight rod.
Oh my God.
So they'll sneak in and they'll hammer a bunch of perch just like the whitefish are.
Right.
And they see your jig and they just think it's another little perch and they'll just hammer it. And so when I say give them the onion, when you set that hook, you never know. It could be a big bull. We caught a cutthroat yesterday jigging for whitefish.
Huh.
Yep.
Now, when you're jigging, do you anchor? Do you spot lock if you've got a trolley motor that can do that?
Technology with all the bow mount motors, you just drop your motor, spot lock it. Back in the day when Bob and I first started, we had 200 feet of rope and a big old anchor.
Wow.
The problem is you don't want to move very often.
No, because that's a lot pulling up. Yeah.
Like never.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
Unless you got a kid, unless you got a teenage
So
boy or
with the new
something.
technology with motor guide and and all the new bow mounts, you just push a button. I was in 2.5 footers yesterday and the boat never moved.
Wow.
The motor was coming out of the water every now and then, but she was a little rough yesterday.
Yeah.
And we caught some nice. There were 4 or 5 pounders.
And for the whitefish, any time of the day that's better, or what would you recommend there?
We look at the moon. Right now we have no moon. So it's been a morning bite. And last week it was about 10 o'clock. Just hang it up. You literally see 20 boats, not a single net coming out after about 9:30, 10 o'clock. So it was pretty much an early bite. And I don't know if the perch just move out or if the whitefish got full bellies and they're done. And if you've ever opened a whitefish up, their bellies aren't that big. They can hold maybe 6 to 10 1-inch perch in them. The rest of that is pure meat. They're a strong muscle fish. So they gorge a bunch of minnows real quick, and then they take off back in the deeper water. And then I don't know what the process is, but another age class will come in. So you'd be catching 2 and 3 pounders, and then boom, here comes 5 pounders. Okay. So yeah.
So
finding those humps and those grassy knolls. Look on your electronics. You're looking for the bait fish. Once you find the bait, it's just a matter of timing. When are those whitefish going to move in? But you also got to use your North Dakota fish finder, your binoculars.
Right. Look for the other guys that are catching.
Boats.
Yeah.
And because our boats have MoFish and Able written all over them, they know the guide boats, and when they see our nets coming out, we get a lot of company real quick, and that's fine. Just give us a little bit of space, but once one boat's on them, other boats will get closer.
Yeah, that's one of the captain's favorite techniques of doing that. I call it the monkey see, monkey do technique, but it really does work if you're maybe you don't have all the great electronics and all that, and so yeah. See what the other folks are doing, and don't crowd them too much, but get on in there and go for it. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get with Matt and get a little more lowdown on how to get the big ones. Is there a way to target a big lake trout? And we'll talk about some other things too right after this. First, though, I want to talk a bit about another one of our great sponsors. That is Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer. When you're ready to invest in a new or pre-owned cargo trailer or a truck bed or whatever you're looking for, they're ready to, and I love how they explain this. They say, Dale, we're just ready to exceed people's expectations. That's what we're going to do. They're very proud to be dealers of very top quality brands. And I think these brands all kind of gravitated to Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailers because of their reputation. They carry CM truck beds, top of the line. Diamond C trailers, again, top of the line. If you want the right trailer, that it's sitting there waiting for you. They have a great selection, and if they don't have it in stock, they're going to track it down for you and get it done. They have, I think, probably the best sales department there. They have financing. They service what they sell. These days, unfortunately, not a lot of trailer companies even do that. They do. They, of course, have an on-site parts department as well. So whether you're going to fix it yourself or you need them to do it, they got you covered there, too. Their experience is second to none. In Montana, towing a trailer is kind of like second nature for most of us. We need it. You got to have the right trailer. They've got it there at Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer. For those of you that may be first timers that, it's about time I get a trailer. I don't even know where to start. Easy. Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer. They will guide you right through it and get you the right trailer for what you need. They're not the kind of folks that are going to oversell you or anything like that. They're located at 5680 Expressway. That's in Missoula, Montana. You can call them 406-549-4243. Another great way to check out what I'm talking about here is just go see them online. That's rmtte.com. rmtte.com. Go there. You can take a look at what they do. You can learn more about the company. And I'll tell you what, from that day forward, you're going to say, yep, those are the folks. When I need the new truck bed, when I need the trailers, or come this winter when I need a Boss snowplow, that's who I'm going to see. Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer. They're the best out there. And we're back here on the Montana Outdoor Podcast. We're talking with Matt from Mo Fish. You know, you hear him all the time on the Montana Outdoor Podcast. First, Matt, tell us if folks are looking for the new company online. What is the name now of the company? Here, Chris is right here. Chris, what is the name that we're looking for online? Where do we find you?
You can find us at 3 places: Big Sky Fishing Charters.
Big Sky Fishing Charters. Okay.
.com, howesfishing.com.
So that's still in it out there too.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
mofishcharters.com.
And either one of those is going to get you to that. And then that's for if you want to find stuff on Fort Peck or Flathead or all the places you go.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So when Big Sky Fishing Charters was created in 2016, I always knew I was going to become an outfitter one day. Mm-hmm. And so when Mike Howe decided to sell, it just kind of worked out that we were able to purchase, and then we were going to keep all companies still running, and 3 different websites. So
okay, well, let's talk a bit about that. You said I always knew I was going to be an outfitter one day. Any regrets about turning your favorite hobby into your job?
None
at all.
No, I love it too much. It's the people that keep me coming back and waking up every morning, and especially seeing the families and the kids that come out, just to see the joy that a fish really brings to especially a young person. Yeah, it's pretty special.
Speaking of which, I want to take Matt back. I think maybe around 13, 14 years, and I was out here with my wife and my stepson. He was just barely into his teens, if that. And we were out on a Fisch charter, and we hooked one. And so naturally, you're going to let the little guy, the young boy, go first.
Oh, I never do that.
And well, yeah, you could, then you could learn more from me than you have already. And we are, I don't know, Gabriel can't be more than 2 or 3 cranks in trying to get this fish in, and Matt says to me, you're probably going to want to keep this one. So, $600-700 later, it's on my wall.
Okay.
But yeah, how did you know? I mean, you knew immediately that, and it was just barely. You got that slot limit thing, or you had that slot limit thing, and it was barely okay to keep that fish. It was that big. But how did you know?
Well, when you fish as many days as I
That's
have
what I'm getting
in
at,
my career, when a rod goes off, you know right away. The big head pulls, what I'm pulling. You talked about, how do we target big fish?
Yeah, that's what I was going to. This is a perfect segue.
You've got to pull big lures.
Okay.
And one major lure that we like to pull is obviously the flatfish. When you pull flatfish on the bottom or near the bottom on 2 or 3 different areas around here, okay, we can target big fish. Two of our main points, Angel Point over by Lakeside, Woods Bay Point over here, and then just off the delta right here where we're fishing right now. We've done real well. You obviously see a picture of Chris's big one.
Chris just showed me this picture. How much did this fish weigh, Chris? And I'm going to put this on our website so people can see. So when you're listening to the podcast, you'll know. How much did this one weigh here?
That fish was 30 pounds, 40 inches.
Whoa. And looks like in the picture there's some kids that are all gathered around you. Did one of these little kids bring that fish in?
The little girl.
The little girl brought that in. So when you go to Montana Outdoor, and we're going to have a lot of these pictures there on what I call our podcast article talking about this, and you're going to get to see this. That's got to be a thrill and a half. Now, how hard was it for this little girl? You folks will see it in the picture. How hard was it for her to pull a 30-pound trout in?
So with my help, obviously, 15 minutes.
15 minutes,
15
really?
minutes.
Wow, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, that is quick.
What, were you kind of backing the boat up to the fish, or?
We just slow the boat down to almost to a stop. and just fight him and bring him in. Yeah.
So give us a little advice on this. So let's say we're out doing the trolling for the big ones. We decided, okay, let's target big fish. We've had plenty of the other ones for eating. Now we hook on. Like you said, you know it when you see it. We got a big one. What do you advise people to do? Do you usually clear one side of the boat out, pull those rods in first before you try to bring that fish in, or what?
No, because if you are targeting big fish, most of your tackle is on the bottom. And the first thing that fish is going to do, he's going to come up. So once you got 4, 5, 6 cranks in, he's above your other lures.
So you're fine there.
And plus you're moving 1.2 miles an hour, pulling those big flatfish, T50s, T60s, quick fish, the K15s, K17s, same thing you would use for king salmon,
right?
Basically. Yeah. But no, your biggest problem is when they get close to the boat, they like to wrap around your downrigger cables.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So you get all those up out of the water then?
Yeah.
Okay.
A few years back, my big fish was a 28-pounder, big male, 44 inches, and it was about a 90-year-old guy reeling it up. Well, he gets about 20 feet from the boat, and he quit. Well, the fish swam underneath my boat, and then swam around my downrigger.
Oh, no.
So I had my hands full.
Yeah.
I had to take the rod in the water, go underneath the downrigger, and how we still landed it, I have no idea. But he didn't take enough Insure that morning. He just ran out of juice.
He ran out of gas.
He ran out of juice. And
Well,
that was a hard fighting fish.
That can happen.
The big ones are still out here. Obviously, Chris nailed a nice one last week. Cameron got some really beautiful fish a couple weeks ago, but he was targeting big fish. Ross did really good last week also. We get 10% of those customers that say, I want one for the wall, or I want a memorable 20-pounder, and we give them the story. We could catch 0 because those big fish aren't big for a reason. They're not dumb.
Yeah.
They've seen a lot of lures go by their face, or they've been caught once or twice. And a big fish like that, they only eat once a day. If they eat a 20-inch whitefish, they're full.
Yeah, they're good.
And a lot of those big fish we catch, you'll see the tail of a whitefish hanging out of their mouth, and they still hit our lure. So we were either doing something right, or he was really hungry.
Yeah, he decided
those big fish, they're few and far between, but they are still out here. We've got some other lakes that we fish that's got big lakers in them. We can, like I said earlier, we can fish McGregor Lake, Swan Lake. When the Flathead gets real muddy in the spring, that's when we'll start going to some of our other lakes that's got cleaner runoff water in it, and we've got big fish in both those lakes also.
Well, before we run out of time here, let's talk a bit about kind of the basic gear that somebody needs to go after. Let's start with these lake trout. What would it be if someone said, I want to start, I'm retiring, I want to start targeting these lake trout and getting out? What would you recommend for them to get started? And where should they go to find all that?
First thing they want to do is give us a call and book a trip.
Right.
It's one thing to say something, but it's second thing to actually do it. And we'll let you run downriggers. We'll show you how we make our leaders for the squids and flies and the Brad super baits. The flashers catch more fish out here than any other lure that we have. It's what you put behind it is key. A lot of times you can put a spoon behind there. A squid, we'll tip it with some Northern Pike minnow baits. Today we're just using scents. It's quicker. We don't have to keep a cooler full of bait. You see our other rods, we've got big Rapalas on there.
Yeah.
Well, in the morning, a lot of those bait fish are sitting 10, 15, 20 feet down. And we've always got a surface rod out there. Mid-June through July, we catch a lot of fish on the surface. Believe it or not, lake trout aren't a deep fish. They're a fish that where the bait is. So your basic Rapala, some spoons, with the flasher and squids and flasher and flies, that'd be your basic tackle box for lake trout. A downrigger is a must.
Okay, yeah, you got to get that bait down.
A good fish finder is a must. Mm-hmm. And if you can, have a trolling motor of some sort, whether it be a bow mount or a small kicker, 8-horse or a 10-horse. That way it's less wear and tear on your big motors. Okay, but a downrigger, controlled depth fishing, you see fish at 40 feet, you just lower your downrigger ball to 40 feet. You're giving yourself more of an advantage by putting the lure in front of their face. And like Chris said earlier, we can go out here and catch fish in 180 feet because they're eating the shrimp.
Okay.
Right now, I'm watching the screen right now. We've been marking a lot of fish in that 60 to 80, 90 foot. That's where the bait is right now. Well, if you don't have a downrigger, good luck.
Okay.
Dip sea divers and stuff will work, but downriggers are quicker. You don't need fancy ones like we have. They make manual ones.
Sure.
For a couple $100. These are in that $700 to $800. So it's just a matter of how much do you want to fish and how comfortable do you want to be.
And what rod do you recommend?
There's so many rods out there now. I run ugly sticks. They're proven over the years. There's a lifetime guarantee. We run Shimano rods. We run G. Loomis rods. A nice 7 to 8.5 foot. They're medium action. They're called a salmon rod. They use them on the coast. They use them on Fort Peck. We use them out here. They're 3/4 loaded, meaning the last 25% of that rod can really bend over, but there's no memory on them. These rods are made to be bent over all day long. Okay. And when we're done, the rod's straight as an arrow.
All right. And not to get personal with you guys, but what size of balls do you have?
We like to run 10-pound Cannon downrigger balls.
Okay.
They're coated.
The round ones, or
they're round. We don't do the pancakes anymore. They're just too hard on your boat. They bang up and they fall off the gunnel walls. Chris has a couple of the fins, and what that does is it makes the downrigger ball go a little bit farther out because we're running multiple downriggers. Other than that, your clip release, you can use the standard alligator type ones that come with the downriggers. Canon makes those, Scotty's makes those, but we also have Black's releases, and those are with a tension screw, so we can tighten them up and say I want to go kokanee fishing tomorrow. I can loosen them up for a 10-inch fish.
Okay.
Yeah, they're more adjustable, and those are Black's releases. And you can get those at Chancey's and Dave's. One of our local kid makes them up for everybody.
Now, a lot of people aren't going to, buy a great big boat like this. For Flathead Lake, what if somebody wants to consistently fish for these Macks and for the for everything else that you can find out here on the lake? What size boat do you recommend? What kind of a setup do you like there?
Optimum boat for this lake is a 20 to 22 foot. We like aluminum. You can beat them up a little more. You can beach them.
Right.
If you want to go to Wild Horse or go hit one of the islands or go hit the beach up here on the north end, having a cover, a Benimi top or some type of top for the weather like this.
Right.
Windy, rainy, you can get out of the elements. A bow mount is really recommended in case you wanted to go perch fishing or you wanted to go pike fishing up by the river or you want to go catch some whitefish.
Electric troller on the front there.
Yeah, the bow mount electric motors. So 20 to 22 foot is optimum. Obviously, a bigger boat for rougher waters. But if it gets that rough out here, you shouldn't be out here.
Okay.
It's unpleasant. There's a lot of other smaller lakes in the Flathead Valley that you could go hit on a windy day and not get yourself in trouble.
Okay.
There's actually days that we have to cancel our trips because it's not safe and it's not fun.
Right.
We're all about fun.
Yeah. Who wants to beat themselves up?
If there's 6-footers out here, no way. We'll pick another day for you, or we'll prolong the trip. We'll let that wind come through, and we'll shorten it up for a reduced cost or whatever we need to do to get you out here, or we'll move you from one end of the lake to the other. If there's an east or a west wind coming, and the boats over here in Marina Cay can't get out, and we got open boats on that side of the lake, we'll just send you over to the other side.
Okay.
And it's a lot calmer on one side of the lake versus the other. We'll do anything to accommodate and make it fun, and we want everyone to have good memories, not bad memories. We don't want you puking and falling off the boat and falling down. And
right. Yeah, we don't need any of that.
No.
Chris, tell us what's the best ways for folks to get a hold of you guys so that they can either, book one of these trips that we're on right now on Flathead Lake, or like you guys were saying, to just have you guys either meet them on their boat or they go out and learn more about how to catch these beautiful fish. How is it best to get a hold of you?
Get a hold of us at bigskyfishingcharters.com. or on our howesfishing.com or mofish.com. Any one of those websites will get you directly in line with me or my wife, and we'll get you booked. Or you can book online right there too, and, and fill out all the comments. If there's a comment section for what you want to do, we'll get you with the right guide, and we'll get you on the water catching fish.
For those that prefer to call, what can they call you to?
If they've got details that they want to discuss, call the 755-4414. Leave April or Chris a message of what you want, and then when we're done fishing, one of us will call you back and feel you out on what are you really looking for. Do we need to jump in your boat? Do you want to jump in our boats first? We'll just get it figured out. We've been doing it for such a long time. It's second nature for me to do seminars or go in someone else's boat. I will even bring some of my gear to help their boat get a little bit better so they know what to buy.
Okay.
Like I said, a customer last week spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
12 hours after you went fishing in one of our boats. So
hey, but he was ready to do that.
He was ready he just wanted to make sure.
So now he's going to end up with the right stuff.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And that actually, you probably, of course, this is the way I would explain it to my family, is they actually saved me money.
That's it. Buying a boat is cheap. It's setting it up that costs.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what boat stands for. Bring on another 1,000.
Bring on another 1,000. There we go. Director, any final parting words for these folks?
No, I don't think so. You've covered it very, very well. They do a great job of managing people's expectations, and really it's just, you'd like to catch a bunch of fish, but just the experience of being out here, you don't have to worry about backing the boat into the water.
There you go. That'll end a lot of marriages.
You get on the boat, you show them your license. Do not forget your licenses if you get on a charter.
Right.
Other than that, no. Matt and Chris have been very, very accommodating today with us.
All right.
All of our boats are fully equipped with all Coast Guard standard equipment, flares, life jackets.
Yeah,
we have bathrooms on all of our boats. So if there is an emergency, we don't need to run back into the dock and take care of business. We fillet all the fish and package it up for you. On our side of the lake and lakeside, you can actually walk off the boat into the restaurant, and the restaurant will cook them for you.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And we'll have that over here in Big Fork next year probably. Yeah. Wow. All new management over here on the Big Fork side. So.
Excellent. Well, that's worth it right there. How fun is that? You go out and catch it, and then you eat it.
You need to mention that on the radio show a few times. I don't think that's ever come up.
Yeah. We have a big group tomorrow, so we got to catch a lot of fish tomorrow. We're feeding 3 boats worth tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for spending all this time taking us out on Flathead Lake and really, teaching us all about these wonderful lake trout, the whitefish, and just so much that this lake has to offer, and you guys say it all.
I do have one more. If you are considering booking a charter, what's a good rule of thumb? I mean, how much advance notice does it help you guys to have?
2 weeks is probably key.
2 weeks, okay.
But this time of year, we're slowing down.
Okay.
Kids are back in school, colleges and stuff. So a lot of our
but peak season, 2 weeks is a good rule of thumb.
A month in the peak time, yeah.
Peak season months.
A month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Months in
month in the peak
Yeah,
season.
We're already getting bookings for next year.
Yeah. And the more time you can give these guys, the better it's going to be. Then you're going to get the time you want for your family and all that.
That's correct. And the other thing too is when you come to the Flathead, the best thing would be to do, if you know you're going to take a fishing trip or a guided trip, go with us first before you start venturing out to Glacier Park and around, because the guides are knowledgeable. We can tell everybody where to go, what restaurants to go to, what's the high or not to go, and
there you go. Get a feel for the rest of the area too,
and what sights to see, because usually a lot of times by the end of their trip, they're wore out, they're tired, and it's just a kind of a relaxing day still on the water. But if they come out with us first, we can give them all the highlights and places to go.
Yeah, they do it all. In fact, I even forgot the power cord to my broadcast equipment. They have that for me. They have it all.
Lucky for you.
Well, I had a backup, but this was just fantastic, guys, and we really learned a lot. And those of you listening to this podcast, I'm going to be posting all those websites. So you don't need to rewind and try to hear them again. They'll all be posted when you find our podcast. There's that show description. In the show description is going to be all those websites, all that. So you just click and boom, it'll send you right to them. So that's all there. Thanks again, guys. Thanks for being on the Montana Outdoor Podcast, and thank all of you for spending time with us and learning more about it. And we'll have these gentlemen on again soon. And be sure and send us all your questions. I'll make sure these two get all those answers for you right here on the Montana Outdoor Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Montana Outdoor Podcast. It has been brought to you in part by Superior Hardwoods of Montana, home of the largest selection of in-stock, high-end wood products and flooring in the western United States. Let them guide you through the woods at superior-hardwoods.com. And by Rocky Mountain Truck and Trailer in Missoula, home of Boss Snowplows, CM Truck Beds, and Diamond Sea Trailers. Just go to rmtte.com for more information. So what did you think of today's podcast? Send your questions and comments to Downrigger at montanaaoutdoor.com. We should be dropping a new podcast this next Saturday. Until then, we will see you soon out in Montana's great outdoors.